Hello again everybody, Sammy here, otherwise known as Skull1Fro, back for another video, and of course as you can pretty much tell by the title below, I'm doing another response video because, you guessed it, these things are fun for me to do. But this is one that really is kind of interesting because this is one that has gained quite a lot of love over the past day or so, because this one has really touched I don't want to say touch, but at least got a lot of people thinking as well. And these sorts of things are really fun, are really interesting to really think about, because being a part of this this fandom really at least manages to get your brain working, really think about where these sorts of videos go. Anyway, this is a response to somebody that I recently just came across, along with his video as well. His name's I've got the video open right now. His name's Dave's, his channel's Dave's Transformers Junkheap, and I'm assuming his real name is Dave, and if you're watching this, I don't. And he did this really interesting video, which was supposed to be a review, but it ended up being something else, which was, the main question of this video was, have you ever really, this is mostly in the Transformers, interest, but have you ever looked at your collection or any of the things that you own and really have just really stopped and thought, where am I going with all this? Why am I still collecting these things, even though I am now of a certain age where that's not considered mature and well, not mature, but right enough to be collecting these sorts of things. That sort of thing, and I just thought I might as well throw my name into the hat there, just to see if I can add a little more light on this whole controversy. And it's an interesting one to consider, because now that I'm 25, it really actually just makes you think a lot. But I don't want to make this sound really negative though, because there are some positive things to come out of this. So I'll kind of go through them as they go. Let's see. Yes, I have looked at my collection of figures that I own, and you pretty much have already seen. Anyone who's watched my videos this long will have seen this collection by now. But will have seen, I've looked at my collection many times, and even the stuff that I own, and have just really wondered why. Why do you own all these? Why are you still buying these, even though that's not specifically for people of your age, or at least that's how a lot of people like to say that. Well, I think this whole thing kind of really stems from the fact that being interested in something as well, it takes a huge effect in this as well, in great measure, because what's the best way to really explain this? When anybody really reaches a certain age in their life, they really have to look at whatever they own and think, do I really need to hold on to that, or can I just get rid of it altogether? And that sort of thing has came up in, I'm pretty sure, almost everyone's lives. That's inevitable to really have that feeling at all. So I'm just really wondering where I fit into all this, because looking at all the stuff that I own, you know, it's kind of weird now that the Transformers now has become has exploded into this huge franchise that has captivated not only children but adults between the ages of 20 to 40, and still going on from there. And they of that age group go out to buy the toys, and they still feel quite enraptured by the toys, and still feel the need to look at them and take them apart and really find out what makes them what makes them work, what makes these characters, what makes these robots interesting. And this really all stems down to the fact that, oh well, if let's say for example a quote unquote normal person looked at whatever I owned, and when I said, oh well, you shouldn't own this because this is children's stuff, you're not a child, you're a man, and all that horseshit. Well, I think the best way to really think about that in much depth is because I'm still thinking about it now, honestly, because I've watched this video that he's done over and over and over and over and over again just to really kind of make some sense into it. And I've seen some good responses from it. Lee's done one, Nolsey's done one, Ray's done one, and it's really tugged a lot of heartstrings, and it really actually makes you really wonder, why do you own all this stuff? Why do you own these particular things that make you happy when a lot of people would just think that they're just crap? And the simple answer would be to that is because, again, if I'm still just going sighing and then looking upward, I'm thinking of what to say regarding this, because it's difficult to respond to a question like this. But this whole thing really stems from the idea of having layers of interests, essentially, because I think it really what really matters the most is no matter how old you get, you are allowed to like this sort of hobby. You are allowed to get completely intoxicated in this interest that can pretty much essentially drain your whole bank account completely empty. But at the same time, though, there's something good to come of that, because with me buying, I mean, pretty much everyone I know, and pretty much people who know me at this point already know that I'm no longer a collector anymore. I stopped collecting because at that point I just had too much stuff and I had to pretty much sell a few things, and I still am in the process of selling things. But the main reason why I collect, I still collect, mind you, I collect only of toys of characters that I like. So, for example, if I saw a character that I really liked, that I paid a lot of attention to, and really wanted to get the figure because I liked the character, I would immediately buy the toy, no questions asked. And normally I do feel that way about a lot of the things that I own. Not just of Transformers, but of these figures as well. Pretty much all this crap. And it feels weird for me to call that crap as well, but at the same time, though, I do enjoy looking at these things because they're weird and creepy. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. It's kind of weird, honestly, to really look into this with so much depth, because this really actually, I hate saying this, tugs at your heartstrings and really makes you wonder what you've been doing with your life, essentially. Because when you have been involved in the interest of a franchise for so long, it can somehow affect your life altogether for better or for worse reasons. Like, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, then it prevents you from having a social life, or if you are interested in a certain thing that really people would just go and say, oh, I don't want to hang out with you because you like this, and all that nonsense. I'm still thinking, mind you, and it's not wrong to think about this, so I'm not going to try and make this video too long, but I think that the best answer to this would be, well, like I said, it really isn't wrong to still be invested in this, because, like I said before, the main reason why I would still collect these things is because I like the character, well, and the characters in general. But take for example the character of Prowl from Generation 1. I love this character so much. I love this character ever since I was a child. I loved his role in the comics, and in some way, in many ways, in fact, this character kind of relates to me in some way, because Prowl, on some level or another, is quiet and competent and loyal and possessed with a lot of patience, and in some way he's a bit of a dick. And I can be a bit of a dick sometimes. If anybody knows me that well, I can be a bit of an arsehole when I want to be. Only when provoked, though. But yeah, in some way this character does represent me, and at the same time though, I love the original toy, and now that the masterpiece version of this character has come out, I still want to get it, as well as the fact that I really do love the character of Dinobot from Beast Wars. I do love this character so much because he's quite honourable, and in some way I can see a little bit of that honourable side in me. But I'm getting off the subject, and he really actually Dave also really he really kind of wondered, is it kind of a nostalgia to really see these giant robots just going head to head with each other? Now this is kind of also looking on Lee's response as well, Damn You Hussies, and you know, the franchise has evolved so much so that it's more than just about robot against robot kicking the shit out of each other. That's essentially what the Michael Bay films are. You know, as gorgeous as they look in some places, they are weak in storytelling. But however, if you look in the best places possible, you can find some of the best storytelling and character development in the franchise. Beast Wars is a fantastic example. Beast Wars was really a evaluating point to really tell some stories with a very minimal cast, and really actually have a well-structured, thought-out sort of stories. Something that G1 kind of very rarely had from place to place. Because I mentioned this before in the whole G1 dislikes and likes thing. I do like the series, but at the same time, though, the show really is... And you can look at this any way you want. It's a toy catalogue. Because back then, cartoon shows like that were mainly a vehicle to sell a toy. When a child was watching the show, then the child would go over to their parents and ask them to buy that toy of the character that they really liked. So it was popular for those audiences. When Beast Wars came along and really reinvented the series altogether and breathed some new life into this franchise, it really gave it much more of a foundation to really set itself up upon, characters and storytelling aside. The same thing kind of really went from there with Beast Machines and with Animated. And Animated is a very fantastic series. I wouldn't say it's my #1 favorite because I prefer Beast Wars, but Animated is a great series, especially in some of the levels of storytelling it has. Prime, you know where this is going, so I'm not gonna say any more about Prime. But yeah, so there really is more to liking this series than just watching two factions of robots kicking the shit out of each other. There is more to this than that. And you know, honestly, the more I think about it as well, as much as the older I get, I will still be attached to this franchise. I still love everything that it puts out. Occasionally, it has had its ups and downs over recent years, but that hasn't stopped it from changing and evolving and becoming something better. And like I said before, regarding the whole toy scenario, yes, I have felt that way before. Regarding this franchise and how the regarding how when you get older you really start to have your opinion change on the collection that you have. And you know, in all seriousness, I might one day sell all of what I've got and only keep a few things of the characters that I like. Because really, I think that's more important. I think character over a lump of plastic is easily the more standout to me than anything else. And the same reason why I'm still attached to this franchise is because I love the fiction so much. The fiction still is a big importance to me, more than anything else. And looking back on it now, it's going through its changes, but it's still getting better. And looking back over the years, because when I first got introduced to G1 over the years, in my youth, the thing is, I wasn't even alive when Transformers the movie came out in cinemas, because I was born in 1988. But I remember getting it on VHS, and you know what's weird as well is that I'm probably one of the very few people that never cried when Optimus Prime died. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I was kind of really just, as soon as I saw the characters dying, including a favourite of mine that I really hold very close to my heart, I was kind of really like glued to the television to see where it would go, because it was doing something very different even though it was killing off an older toy line and bringing in a new toy line, I still thought that the Transformers, the movie was essentially a huge turning point for the franchise. It was kind of the beginning of so many changes that would occur in this franchise over the years. Seeing your favorite characters that you loved and cared about basically get offed in violent, gruesome ways. I don't know why, but that sort of thing just appealed to me as a child. And the more I look at that movie, and the more I still watch that movie, I still kind of think, yes, I want to see that. I want to see more of this in future fiction. But even then, as much as I want that, we will never see an adult a Transformers movie or cartoon made for adult audiences, made for a generation that grew up throughout the years of G1. Simply because it probably wouldn't work. That's about it. But yeah, oh Jesus Christ, this sort of thing really has got me thinking quite a lot. It turns a lot of gears, essentially. And since I'm getting older, I really am thinking quite a lot about the stuff that I own, and thinking whether or not I should keep it or not. And the idea of me selling it, because this is essentially a nest egg. This is essentially a nest egg that I'm sitting on. And when the time came that I would need to sell it all and make some money, it's not going to happen anytime soon. And if I had to sell anything in this whole lot, it would be of toys that had no character. That's about it. But yeah, this is such a confusing question. It's one that really I'm going to be thinking about quite a lot, and it's one that I've still been thinking about. Kind of when I stopped collecting, actually, because when I started looking at all the stuff that I own, like, do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need this? And continuing on with this whole shtick, it's not wrong to be of an older age and liking this sort of thing. In fact, some of the best things now about this franchise, when you go to conventions like BotCon or even Auto Assembly, if you live in Europe, people now, there are some people who are new and go for the toys, but people now go mostly for the people. What else is there to go for besides that? I love meeting the people. I love getting acquainted with people who have been on YouTube for quite some time. Excuse me. But also people who are new to this whole thing, because I don't want to say a whole passing the torch thing, because that sounds kind of silly, but in some way it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because passing the torch of something that you did once on here to another person who's kind of new to it, but also can do it in a different way, that's pretty interesting, honestly. But then again, there are almost now no original ideas to video making on here, which is why, for someone like me who is more into character over a lump of plastic, I would focus over a character over a lump of plastic. Simply because you have to be invested into the character to buy the toy. I know that me and Ray argued about this Auto Assembly, but 2012, I think. 2012 or 2011? 2012, I think. Yep, that's right. It was 2012. My mistake. But yeah, I'm running out of words. So yeah, I mean, don't be discouraged because you are of a certain age and you really feel like you need to stop collecting. Now here's the thing though, you can stop collecting altogether, and you can still love this franchise, and nobody will, almost nobody will fault you for that if that person says you shouldn't like this because you are of an uncertain age, then just tell them to fuck off. Simple as that. Why should you care what anybody else thinks? Part of the interesting thing about being a human being is that you don't have to worry too much about what people say to you, because you can either be one of those people that just takes every comment and form of abuse with a swollen fist right in the face, or you can just go through life and not care what anybody says, but at the same time, though, do what makes you happy. And that's really all I can say about that, because at the end of the day, we are... I've said many times that there isn't a community regarding this whole Transformers thing, and I'm kind of warming up to the fact that there is, but I still want to believe that there isn't, if that makes any kind of logical sense. But yeah, I mean, in this fandom or community, we have the likes of people like Mr. Mince, Dave, who does some wonderful rambly shit, even if he is mentally insane. We have people like Ray, who is so very in-depth and so insightful, and in many ways quite warm-hearted about some of the things he talks about in Transformers, even if me and him do share different opinions regarding toy and character, but even so, it's fun to really get into. But yeah, just so many people that go through the A to Z list of people on here who are, who have founded their way upward in this whole thing. And it's so interesting, I think, to see that now that YouTube is because it's pretty much still this huge explosive thing, where communities communities and fandoms and discussions are formed, and we can make our own videos and we can respond to someone's question about an opinion we agree to disagree on. It's fun. It's wonderful. I think it's a fantastic move. So yeah, Dave. Your video was quite insightful. I will give you that. But like I said, though, regarding what you said, how you felt about the whole, just there's got to be more to it than just liking these giant robots to just see them kick the shit out of each other. If you want to watch that, then I don't know, play Rock'em Sock'em Robots. that's the alternative solution to that. But don't think that the series is kind of lifeless. I mean, when it started out, it kind of was lifeless as G1, but even though there was kind of a nostalgic, corny feel to it, but at the same time, that nostalgic, corny feel to it made it what it is today-ish. But over the years, it's kind of expanded and grown into this huge franchise that has gone through change after change after change after change, and people kind of resent the change somewhat, but still kind of are willing to accept it. It's a double-sided thing. But yeah, I'm still thinking about this, honestly, because this sort of thing really has got me kind of a little irked. I mean, where do you go when you hit the bottom of the barrel with this sort of thing? I mean, nothing lasts forever. And the one thing that you really have to consider is if you're holding on to what you own, if it's a toy or something that, like a comic book or a video game or a movie that you really are quite emotionally attached to on a sentimental level, is it worth holding on to, or do you think that you should just let it go and just get on with your life and try and find something else? Well, the one thing that I think we can all accept at this point is that there is no such thing as normal. So I don't know where normal people would come and get this idea and thinking you shouldn't like this because it's aimed for children. Haven't we evolved from this point now where toys are no longer meant for children? Because you can go, well, I occasionally go into like a toy shop and just see what's available around. It's nothing worth buying anymore, because I'm more into adult collectibles that you've pretty much already seen just above my head. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, honestly. But yeah, this is a wonderful question. Kind of a love letter, like Ray said, regarding this whole franchise, and where you feel that you might go when the bottom falls out. Yeah, it's heavy stuff to consider. It really makes you think.